Hey, this is Andy Sydow from Denver, Colorado, and you're listening and/or watching Rock Paper Podcast. Woo!
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot. Could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, hanging out on Zoom with Andy Sydow.
Boom!
Oh, I got
Took you 1.5 tries. You got it.
I almost, that's the problem is, and then I overthink it and I'm like, wait, and then I got it right though.
You got it. That's it.
But yeah, man, I'm pumped to be here. This is cool because, like, I don't know, man, you're a guy that I've been following for a while, and we I think we were supposed to do one of these like a couple years ago, and then while you were in town, and it kind of fell through because of just timing. We ran out of time, and but you played at BB's in St. Louis. And then you came down to visit me at the bar, right?
You were at the front door
at Broadway Oyster Bar. Yeah.
That street is a trip. I'd never seen anything like that. And I think it was like a Luke Bryan concert at Busch Stadium. And I was like, man, this is paradise. Like, you got live music venues playing good music, switching out bands every 2 to 3 hours all night. Like, I could hang in a place like this.
For sure, man. Yeah, I mean, obviously I worked there, but also Broadway Oyster Bar has always been home and one of my favorite places to hang out and stuff. So, made natural sense to get paid to be there now. So, but unfortunately, I think since you went through there, Beale on Broadway, which is across the street from BB's, has since closed its doors. But we used to call that Blues Triangle down there. We had three of the top St. Louis blues clubs going. Where Oyster Bar has a little bit of everything, but BB's and Beale were pretty much a lot more blues and stuff. But anyway,
yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of crazy that we had this, like, we've kind of been friendly for a while now, but we never really got a chance to properly talk and stuff. So I thought this would be fun to do this. And I don't even really know how that all started. I guess would it start with an email or something? I guess you when you're coming through town or something.
I think we were just looking because it was our first time in St. Louis. Yeah, it was our first time in St. Louis, and we're like, what do we do? Because we've been, from Denver, it's very hard to tour because you're kind of on a little island, and it's 8 hours to the next big town. So we kind of, okay, we got to Lincoln. Now where do we go? And so we made out to St. Louis on a run, and I thought I just got to look up music outlets, and your podcast came up. I think it was a Google search, and I listened to a couple episodes, and I was like, man, this guy seems really cool. I think even if we don't have a podcast, maybe we'll be friends.
All right.
And then, and I was also getting interested in podcasting at that point, but I don't know if I'd started mine yet or I just started it. And so I hit you up, and we at least got to meet, which was cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad we did because, like I said, even though we've never, besides that, like, we don't really like get to, hang out, but like, of course, through social media, we were able to keep in touch with each other and stuff over the last probably 2 years or something, I think. Or whatever it's been. So, but anyway, it's cool that we're going to having conversation today, and we don't have to like scream over a band in the bar or something like that. And which is a lot of why I keep doing this show. It's like I have a lot of fun. I have usually it starts at a concert or something. I start talking to somebody, and then it's like, it's just nice to where you can do this, where you can actually, of course, most of them are in person, but lately I've been doing it over Zoom and still having a good time with these two. So, and
Yeah,
and of course, with you being in Denver, it makes the commute a little different. So,
it makes it possible. That's
yeah,
maybe one silver lining of the quarantine.
right. But so like again, I don't know a ton about you, but I'd like to know a little more about you and your musical journey, and now, of course, getting into your podcast also and stuff. So, uh, but I guess you've been doing this a long time now, or writing songs and
Y- Yeah, I probably started writing songs in high school, but I started piano lessons in third or fourth grade and was playing a little before that. And then, played sax in the band in fifth grade through high school or whatever, picked up guitar eventually. Um, and I think ever since I was 15 or 16, I've kind of had the same goal of wanting to travel around the country, selling out 500 to 1,000 cap rooms as a headliner with original music, under my name. And I've been stubborn on that, but I've had that's been my goal for a long time. And pretty much every move I make is trying to achieve that. I don't know if I'm ever heading in that forward direction or not, but that's the goal.
right, man. Yeah, so it's at least it's good to have some sort of a goal to shoot for. Even however long it takes you to get there and stuff, but it's something to work towards. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the I think a lot of people don't even do that for themselves. Don't even really they just want to play or do whatever. But I feel like if anything, you're a business. You got to set goals for yourself and try to keep meeting that and passing it and stuff. And but
Yeah,
but yeah, man.
absolutely.
I've told the story a little bit, but like I started in middle school. I started in went out for the eighth. I guess eighth grade. It was like open tryouts for the band, and I tried cornet, and I wasn't very good. And I remember like my band teacher said something along the lines like, at the time it was like an elective thing, so like you had either band or PE or something like that. And he's like, well, you can either try really hard or you can go back to PE. And I'm like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And went back and went to PE and had a lot more fun playing floor hockey and basketball. And
Of
but
course.
I don't know, music's I like always had a love of music, but it's never been my thing to play it. But so
Hmm.
I'm kind of envious of people that do have the talent to do this stuff. And I feel like maybe if I would have actually applied myself, I could probably do something. But I feel like if it hasn't happened now, if it hasn't happened by now, like something telling me to pick up a guitar and try to play, like then maybe it's not there for me. But
Yeah. Well, you
uh,
never know. Maybe you're just a late bloomer.
yeah, I feel like we all have our role. There's got to be people to listen to, so it's like I feel like that's my job, is just being a fan. And so
That's
um,
really cool.
yeah, so I enjoy that. I enjoy trying to listen to as much music as I can. Uh,
Yeah.
you you always live in the Denver area, or do you
Yeah, I grew up in Louisville, which is just that's just a trick I do. Now, which is it's just east of Boulder, about 5 miles. So um that's where I grew up. Pretty much I was born in Houston, but we moved there when I was like 3 or something. And so I grew up there. Um and then after high school I moved to Denver to study jazz piano at CU Denver, and I chose that program because it was very contemporary, like had recording and music business and singer songwriting and stuff like that. So I did that, and then never really. I've been around Denver Metro, you know, since I was 18, and I haven't left. I've thought about it. I've thought, is there a better place for me and my music? But I just keep making more and more connections here, and I love the weather, so
yeah,
I'm a Denver guy.
there you go. Well, I hear I've never been through myself, but I hear there is a strong, obviously we get a lot of the you get a lot of bluegrass type of stuff coming through there. Just a lot of string band kind of scene and stuff. But I guess there's a Denver pretty strong musical community around there.
Yeah, it's a melting pot of people and musicians for sure. There's definitely a lot of average bluegrass bands. There's a lot of really great ones too. But there's definitely a jam scene. There's a hip hop scene. There's there's a bit of a blues scene too, a bit of a singer songwriter scene, maybe a small Americana scene. But yeah, there's people of all different genres here, and it's been interesting to watch it evolve because I've seen in the last, when I was 18, like it was cool if you were from New Orleans or St. Louis. Like if you said, oh, I'm from Nashville, I was like, oh, that's cool. But now Colorado's one of those places. You say, oh, I'm from Colorado, and it's
Right.
like it's a cool place to be from, and the scene's getting bigger and the community's getting bigger, and it's been a kind of a cool thing to watch it grow over the last decade.
Yeah, man. I had friends, they obviously from St. Louis, and they were touring, and they were talking about that kind of how like St. Louis has like this reputation, and but I don't know that it was always necessarily for the good. Like they were saying that they would say they were from St. Louis, and people were like, man, wow, like like these guys are badasses or whatever. Like it was like this,
Yeah. That's what we think about
yeah.
people from St. Louis.
It's like this tough mentality, like that we're like, just a rough city. But I don't know, man. Like, and that's how I've been trying to do my part, as a fan and to educate people, because like, yeah, there are those things. I mean, there is definitely a lot of that, like just like probably any city, but but I feel like our music scene is like world class, but we're overlooked by a lot of the media that it's like so it's it's a shame, man. It's like there's a lot of people that aren't maybe necessarily given a fair opportunity because of everything else that happens with the city and stuff. So
Well, the thing I think that always gets passed around amongst my group of friends when people bring up Kansas City or St. Louis, it's not that as much as those musicians must be really good.
yeah,
If you say you're from New Orleans, we're like, oh God, this guy probably shreds.
yeah,
You
sure,
know, so I mean, that's what I've always thought about it. But I also
yeah,
I haven't lived there. I've just seen a few baseball games,
right,
played some shows.
yeah. You I guess I noticed so you did a little Facebook live show last night. I was watching,
Yeah.
and you were wearing a little like a baseball jersey for the show, and you were talking about the Kansas City was a Negro League Hall of Fame or something.
Yeah, the Negro League Baseball Museum.
Yeah, and then you so I'm guessing baseball's is a pretty big part of your life then.
I love baseball. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen a game at every single ballpark.
Oh wow.
Um, and I've started into a couple minor league stadiums if we have a day off or whatever. But when I was a kid, my dad came up with this crazy idea, maybe to get out of my mom's hair. I don't know. It was me and my little brother Egan, and he came up with this crazy idea. We're gonna go out on the road for 2 to 3 weeks every summer, and camp and hit baseball games. And he still worked. He took his laptop with him and worked on the road, and we just sort of wandered around the countryside. We'd pick. It was so much fun. We'd sit there and pick a route, and we'd try to line up everybody's. I was going to say tour schedules, but it's not music; it's baseball. Everybody's season. Try to line up everybody's home games, and it was it was a lot of fun. It took us, I think, 11 summers to hit them all. And my mom started actually coming with us as well as we got older. But yeah, so I guess and I played through high school too. Music was a backup plan for me. I wanted to be a pro pitcher, but when I was playing JV my junior year, I realized that probably wasn't going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Busch Stadium was actually Old Busch Stadium was the first ball game I saw that wasn't at Coors Field where the Rockies are. So that was the first game on the first road trip. Kansas City was out of town, and we drove through KC and saw a game at Busch Stadium. So we saw what the last year that Busch Stadium was around, Old Busch, and then a couple years later, we came again on a similar route and hit the new stadium as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've only gone to a handful, but I've been to Wrigley. We did a Cards Cubs series up there a couple years ago for a buddy's bachelor party. Like 14 of us got bleacher seats and sat up there, and it was pretty wild, man. We had a really good time. It was pretty entertaining just because there was like that rivalry between the two teams, obviously, and so they were kind of picking on us, but we give it right back, and
Yeah.
it was I remember somebody like, of course their bathrooms are kind of notorious for they're having the troughs and the like, and then of course the crank for the bathroom the towels and stuff, and so anyway, but a buddy of mine said something like, it's like talking to somebody in there as they're washing their hands or something, and he said, yeah, well, in St. Louis, all the towels and stuff are all automatic for you. And he's like, oh, that must be nice. He goes, yeah, well, you got to win a couple of championships to get that though. So, and so
Yeah.
they finally got them one though.
They finally.
Yeah, finally got another one there. But yeah, it's pretty crazy though, like that, to go around to every single stadium. That's cool. And my mother-in-law, she has a group of friends, and they follow the Cardinals and pick a different stadium every summer or whatever, go some, try see some different games around the country. So
That's it's such a fun thing to do. And I don't know, for me there's nothing like, and of course I wasn't having beer as a kid, but there's nothing like sitting in the bleachers with a shitty beer and some dollar peanuts. It's just, that's the perfect afternoon. And sometimes you might be super engaged in the game, sometimes you might just be taking in the atmosphere, but there's something about it that I love. But I want to mention, while we're on the topic of baseball, I did a fundraiser for the Negro League Baseball Museum in Kansas City last night. And let me tell you, those live stream numbers have gone way down since everything started opening back up. We're going from like, there's a lot of people watching to like, there's not, which I have just as much fun either way. But for the fundraiser's sake, there wasn't a ton of people watching. So if anybody's listening to this podcast and they want to donate to the cause, you can Venmo me at Andy Sydow, SYDOW, and I'll just write in the topic, what it's for, and I'll see that it gets there.
Yeah, man. What is why do you choose that particular cause to get behind?
Well, I think we visited it the very first year. The very first year we did our baseball road trip. Kansas City, like I said, was out of town. And hell, I don't know, what was that? I have no idea what year that was. My dad would know. I should text him really quick, but it was probably 2000 or something. And so the first year we did it, no, maybe 2003, 2004. That's who might guess. But the first year we did it, we couldn't see a game in Kansas City. And my dad said, hey, what's this over here? And there was this baseball museum and a jazz museum too. And it was really cool being into music and baseball. I was sort of just like, this is the best place ever. But being a baseball lover and a music lover, and the scene in Kansas City, right? There's a great music scene in Kansas City. But being a baseball lover, it was an easy choice for me, an easy thing to get behind, because that is such an important part of baseball's history. That should not be forgotten. And I saw recently, I think a few days ago, the MLB actually donated like $1 million to them as well, which is way more than I got. And it should be memorialized. It should be shown. It should be studied. And I think Major League Baseball players should be talking about it and visiting. It's just a really, it was a time when Black people were not allowed to play Major League Baseball, if you can even imagine that.
Right.
But it was that's how things were then. And it's important to still remember that time and recognize those ball players. Great ball players too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that I don't know a ton about that stuff, but just from things that I've seen from various movies and highlights and obviously all that kind of stuff that has been documented and things, but just like all those guys like Satchel Paige and all that, whatever, all these, guys that were just, killing it in the Negro leagues and stuff, and then making a real name for themselves. And then they made the jumps to the MLB and all that stuff. So
Yeah, and killed it.
yeah, oh yeah,
know?
for sure, and
Made
continued.
a
Yeah,
quick impact. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I try as hard as I can, but I can't seem to understand. Even though you know what you want, baby, you can't tell me right up front. I gotta search for the answer hidden in your secret and codes. Why do you always say yes when you really mean no? Come on, baby, say it. What's on your mind? 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 Can you find the words to express, or do you wanna make me guess? I look into your inspecting eyes, baby, and I wonder what it is this time. Every day is like a test, and baby, I'm trying to do my best. Why do you always say no when you really mean yeah? Come on, baby, say it. What's on your mind? 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 What's on your mind? Say it. What's on your mind? Come on, baby, say it. What's on your mind? Say it. What's on your mind?
Love those guys, man.
Oh my God.
They're the coolest.
Anthony sold me the sickest synthesizer a couple years ago. we've done a bunch of shows together at this point, and he sold me this old, like, early 80s synth with the most 80s string sound you could possibly imagine. But no, I love that band. Those guys are great, and
Yeah.
they've been really kind to have me along a few times.
Yeah, I got to know them when they were playing with JJ Gray and
Yep.
in Mofro and stuff, and then but yeah, this I think it was Gary Clark Jr. show they opened up for him in St. Louis at the Fox, and that was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, they're a ton of fun, man. They're a really great band.
Really unique sound that blends a lot of different things together, and great musicians too. Both Trub and Farrell, but Anthony's just got this really cool approach to the keyboard, I think.
Yeah, I remember seeing him at the Pageant also, and they were opening for somebody there. And I remember I'm like watching them, and of course they're a 3-piece, with no bass player, and I'm like, man, where are these bass lines coming from? And then I realize he's playing all the bass lines on the left hand there, and I was like, man, that's really impressive. Like the fact that what he's able to do with that key rig setup, and
We he has an insane left hand. I'm a keyboard player, who prides myself on his left hand, but like I see his left hand's insane. And he also, something I really admire about his keyboard playing is he really understands his gear. I mean, he knows what every knob does and how to get the effect he wants immediately. And I think the last time we played with them was in this little town in Washington last July, and it was like it was a listening room show, almost a house concert vibe. So seated, clapping after solos kind of audience, and he just brought this little tiny rig. The organ he was using was like this Yamaha synth that was this big. If you're how do I describe? 1.5 feet, 2 feet. This tiny little thing. And he was just working the shit out of it. He had 3 tiny little keyboards set up, and he was all over the place. I was like, man, they don't need a bass player.
right.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was super cool. Well, you mentioned your podcast, and we got Middle Class Rockstar wherever you're listening to podcasting at, right? Pretty much everywhere.
Everywhere. Finally got it
Yeah.
up on Spotify a few weeks ago.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
And you're broken to 40 episodes or something like that now, up there, 41.
We broke into the 40s, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just had number 42 today. I did a Zoom with Andy Frasco this morning, so he'll be out next week.
Nice, man. Yeah, he's that guy's a trip, man. He's been cracking me up on all his quarantine videos and stuff, all the stuff he's been doing, dancing with everybody and stuff, and then a friend of mine got Andy to do a cameo video for their friend, and it was so funny. He's just a very, very entertaining individual. Again, I was talking about Oyster Bar working there. The first night was Aaron Cam and the One Drops, who are like from St. Louis area, this kind of reggae group, and obviously with the name One Drops and stuff, and then but they the second night was Andy Frasco, and packed house over there, and he of course, like it's kind of his thing, but like crowd surfed across the whole bar across the whole crowd to the bar to get like a bottle of Jameson, and like was chugging it on the way back to the stage and everything else. And
the dude's crazy.
Yeah.
And I love, but he's also genuine the whole time.
Right.
He's not like, it doesn't feel like, hey, I'm going to smoke this joint and crowd surf to get 50 new fans. And so many of us, I think, have an identity crisis of we're not getting as many people as we want out to shows. We're not building at the rate we're doing. We're putting out content. We think it's good content. But like, who am I? Is that person okay? Am I doing a good job of being that person? And he doesn't struggle with that at all. He's just Andy. And I'd say the first time I saw him play was at was kind of a trip. It was at Globe Hall in Denver. And my friend Rachel, who I grew up across the street from since we were 2 years old, works at 7S Management, ended up being his new manager. So she was managing him, and I ended up getting to open for him. So I did a solo piano set thing, and then Andy's keyboard broke in the middle of the set. And so he goes, dude, Andy, can you go get your keyboard? So I did, and I set it up. And I didn't even really know what I was in for, because I had been out selling some merch, and I came in, and almost immediately he had asked for my keyboard. So I wasn't fully exposed to what his show was. And I go up on stage with the keyboard, and within a minute, I've got a beer dumped on my head and a joint in my mouth. And then I look over, and he's nowhere near the piano. I thought he was going to borrow my piano. And he walks up and whispers in my ear a couple of songs later. He goes, hey, you're playing keys tonight, cool? And that was it. It was the craziest thing, but it was just interesting to watch him as a front person command an audience. I was just sitting there going, my God, he's whatever it is, he's got it.
Yeah. Well, I love that too. It's like the jam aspect of the show, like the fact that he kind of collects these different musicians in the city. Like, you kind of threw you right into it and started playing, but he does the same, like get, horns or harmonica or whatever. People just sit in and jam for the night and stuff. And so it's really cool that every city's like a different thing too. So.
Well, I think it just makes it fun for the audience,
Sure.
if like it's a hometown boys there sitting in, makes it all the more fun for the audience.
Right. But I mean, for us as a fan, yeah, it's definitely fun, but also I imagine for him, it just continues to keep it interesting, because you never know what the night's going to bring. So
I just thought, I mean, he watched my opening set, so I think he saw, well, he can play piano, but I mean, I didn't know any of the songs.
yeah.
I wasn't even getting keys from the other bandmates. Like, oh, just have fun. Like, all right, here we go. I think he has a great band behind him, and he just knows that no matter what happens, he's gonna have a good time. No one's gonna stop that.
Right. Worst case, he just make fun of you and everybody will laugh, and it'll still be fun anyway. So,
Yeah.
something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
you can always make a joke out of it and have fun with that too. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's a trip. So I guess that episode will be coming. Well, probably by the time people hear this one, they'll probably be out there and stuff. So be sure to click subscribe and follow along, and for more conversations. And do you see? I pretty much focus in on St. Louis, because it's just people around town that I can easily sit down and talk with, and I'm always open to getting to talk to people touring through, like yourself when we were trying to do it the first time. But it's that whole thing where it kind of gets difficult, because you got a narrow window to make it work. But now that I know I can do Zoom, effectively, I might try to do more of that, but be able to help people plug shows as they're coming into town.
Yeah.
So how do you typically choose a lot of your guests? Are they friends of yours, or do you?
Yeah, I mean, I know most of the guests, and it's comfortable that way. But I'm trying to stretch out, and I try to get people that I don't know, who I admire, who I want to chat with, to make it more fun for me, but also to grow the podcast. It definitely started off with all my close buddies, like, hey, come over, let's get drunk and do an interview. But I still do plenty of that, but I'm trying to diversify as well, and think a little more global. I'm when I'm on tour or whatever, I always take, a small interface with me, meet people, try to do stuff on the road. When I'm in a different mindset, I think that helps things. And then honestly, with the quarantine, I started doing the Zoom and posting all of them on YouTube. The YouTube thing hasn't caught on for my audience yet. They're still all listening. They're all streaming, but it's made it possible to get more people on. I had somebody reach out to me from South Africa a few weeks ago to do the podcast, and I was like, "Word, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't care what you do. You're from South Africa." Um, so it's kind of cool. Obviously, you want to be in person, and I want to help out the local community as much as I can because I'm a Colorado guy. Go to war for my people, my Colorado people. But at the same time, I want to diversify and hear different angles from different people in the music industry and catch touring acts, whatever. So maybe I'm kind of ADD with it. It's not a music business podcast, but there's some music business episodes. It's not necessarily an artist interview, human
Right.
interest podcast, but there's a lot of that. So, whatever I feel like. I
Yeah,
guess.
man. I mean, I'm with you. Like, that's why I chose a name like Rock Paper Podcast, where I can sort of operate anything under that name. There's nothing like, I never wanted it to be like the St. Louis Music Podcast or whatever it is. So I've had people on from charities and restaurants and musicians, comedians, all sorts of different things, like just whatever. So, but
That's cool that you're not even just doing music, because that's something I want to try to do even under the middle class rock star name. Like, I don't know, like, can I get a Buffs basketball player on the podcast? That'd be sweet. I don't know.
there's a lot of, I mean, you don't have to necessarily be a musician to be a rock star. There's all sorts of rock stars in daily life. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
But that's I think that's cool, man. I'm with you. I like talking to people and just learning, and that's it, just trying to learn as much as I can while I'm here and stuff. So I did get one. I do draw a line though. I do. There's some things I feel like I won't do people any justice by having them on the show, like just because I don't know enough about that. Like, but I did receive an email a while back from a guy. Actually, it was I guess it was somebody in his office or whatever it was. But somebody was like trying to pitch me the idea of having this LASIK eye surgeon on the show, and I'm like, you might be the best surgeon and all, but like, I don't know how I would talk about LASIK eye surgery for just not for me. It's just like I don't think this is I don't think I'm going to do you any favors by having you on the show and stuff. So
Right.
so I told him like I'm going to pass. So
That's interesting that you got that kind of inquiry.
yeah, I mean, I get with a lot of weird emails, and that was definitely one of the top ones that was very strange for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
LASIK eyes.
yeah.
All right. I'm in.
Yeah.
Tell him to hit me up.
All
no,
right.
No,
Yeah.
don't. I'm not going to do that.
Well, again, check out the podcast again wherever you are listening to podcasting, and follow along with Andy. You said everything as far as that content is all through your music pages and stuff too, so everything's all in the same Facebook and Instagram and everything. So check
Yeah.
that out.
Yep, sure is.
So let's talk about, you just released a brand new EP in May, and I wanted to kind of go through this with you because typically a lot of how I like to do my show is I love sitting down with singer-songwriters, and a lot of times I like to try to do it live acoustic because it's a lot of fun for me. But being that we're doing this one over Zoom, we're going to play the tracks from the EP, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of do a little EP preview type of thing. If anybody hasn't checked it out yet, you can get to hear the whole thing today and talk about some stories and behind some of these songs and stuff. So
Awesome.
the title of the EP is Wicked Dreams, and that's the track number 1.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the title track. You anything come to mind around Wicked Dreams?
Yeah, well, I wrote it. That was one of those lucky songs that came in one night. My roommates were watching TV, and I was just sitting in the kitchen, had this cool guitar riff, and wrote the song over. They don't usually happen like that. It usually takes a lot of time with the lyrics and stuff. But fulfillment is sort of the key theme that ties all the songs together. And Wicked Dreams is the story of a troubadour who travels around working odd jobs and various 9-to-5s, he's sort of attempting to follow societal norms. But he searches high and low and does his thing, and at the end the character, the balladeer, realizes that Colorado is his home and music is the only career for him. And maybe there's a little, I wouldn't say it's autobiographical completely, but there's definitely like some me in there.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was a young man out of college. I just needed to get out. Kept a guitar in my pocket, but it didn't make a sound. Started up in California, and I went from town to town. Ended up in Louisiana, where my feet never hit the ground. I don't need no one. I don't need a reason to identify with the troubles in my life, or the wicked dreams I refuse to die. The future came too quickly, and I had to get a job. Corporations came to find me, and I tried out them all. But I didn't feel happy, and I didn't feel safe. So I ran to Oklahoma, 'cause back then life was still a game. I don't need no one. I don't need a reason to identify with the troubles in my life, or the wicked dreams I refuse to die. Settled down in Colorado, it's the place that I call home. There's beauty and adventure, with a different kind of tone. I don't need no one. I don't need no one. I don't need a reason to identify with the troubles in my life. I don't need no one. I don't need no one. I don't need a reason to identify with the troubles in my life, or the wicked dreams I refuse to die.
do you find yourself writing that way a lot, like putting your own pieces of your own reality into some of the stories and stuff? Or
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially now, because I mean I still write love songs and stuff, but when I was going through a period of, being heartbroken by countless relationships, I was writing all these super sad love songs. And I can still sort of do that. And there's definitely still a place for that, but I found myself just kind of writing about me and what's going on, even if it's mundane, even if it's just like, hey, I'm looking out my window and this is what I see and this is how I'm feeling. And I think just those normal feelings are what I write a lot about. And also, my current struggle, which I think my big internal struggle right now is feeling like I'll be 29 in August. I know I'm still a young guy. I still have a lot of career in front of me, but I've been doing this a long time. And I sort of feel like I've made very little headway. Yes, I get some big gigs. Yes, I get to do some cool tours, but I don't have big numbers. There's no one scene that knows me very well. I'm sort of in the blues scene. I'm sort of in the Americana scene. I'm sort of in the singer-songwriter listening room scene. I'm sort of in the country scene, right? Got open for a couple country artists, but I think trying to figure out who I am and who my audience is, because music is what keeps me up at night. Music is what gets me up out of bed in the morning, and I want so badly to succeed in this career. And my whole life I've just said, I'm going to do that and no one's going to stop me. But as time goes on and I still feel that way, but I also, for the first time in my life, start to feel some amount of pressure. Like I want to buy a house and have kids at some point, not in the next 2 years, but in 6 or 7 years, I want to do that. So I feel like in order to be able to do what I love and be happy, I have to be at a certain point in my career where I can be a responsible adult and parent to be able to still do that, if that makes sense. So there's been a lot of songs that aren't necessarily directly about that, but are relatable to that topic, if that makes sense.
yeah, man. Yeah, I can get that. Like, I feel like that a lot in my own personal life. Like, I'll be 35 next week, and I'm sort of right there, like thinking about like, well, it's always been one of my biggest goals to want to be a father and everything. But again, like uh, I never really. I always kept feeling like I need to be at a certain point, in my life to be able to provide and all that stuff, like you're saying. And so I don't know if that's part of why, I haven't or whatever. But I feel like what's cool for me in my life with the podcast is like, as the podcast is sort of my creative outlet, it's like where as you get to play music and stuff, and like that scratches that itch for me and stuff to. And but I have the day job Monday through Friday, working 40 plus, and then I also work the bar twice a week or so, and so I'm like trying to juggle it all and trying to hustle and hoping that the next door opens up to push me to the next level and stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy, but as always, like, we always want more, we always want bigger, better, and stuff. But
Yeah. I think you said it too. I think maybe in my early 20s I wasn't terribly happy. I do feel happy and very fortunate, and life is good, but also there's like a lot of work to be done and other goals.
yeah,
And what is your 9 to 5?
I work for Wentzville School District. I do custodial work for them
Okay.
in an elementary school. So it's like it's pretty entertaining being around the kids all day and all the crazy things that happen there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's fun. Now I've been doing that for 15 years or so now, and but it's nice because it's like it's good stability, as it's the insurance and benefits and everything, all that fun stuff. But the hours allow me to do all the fun stuff and, do all this in order to keep chasing this dream and hoping that someday this music thing will take off for me too. So
What is the dream? Like, what would be your ideal career in this industry?
I honestly, I really don't know yet. I mean, if I would love to just, if I could somehow make music career path, then that would be awesome. I don't know exactly what that would entail. I mean, if I could do the podcast and get paid for it and make a living doing that, that would be fun. But I don't see that unless I'm start getting some of that Joe Rogan money or something. But
Yeah.
But as far as like, I feel like a lot of people, like we all kind of have different hats we wear. It's like if I could get a job, some kind of booking a venue or doing something like that, and just being connected with music and stuff. And I've also thought maybe getting into management and stuff, being involved in that way. And I'm sort of doing that. I obviously everything, as soon as we like started it, like everything went put on hold, but I've been managing a band, Spank Anya out of St. Louis. And so it's kind of my first taste into, what it's like dealing with that side of things.
I think you'd make a really good manager because you're very outgoing and you have so many connections in so many different circles. Like a lot of people know who you are, they know your name, and that's like, and you're an organized guy. You would have to be to put out as many podcasts as you have. Like you have to have an amount of discipline for that. So I think you'd be really good at that. The right amount of motivation plus you're well connected at this point in the scene.
Yeah. I try to keep, like, here's this is May when things were already slowing down, but I try to keep try to keep everything pretty well organized, where where I'm supposed to be at when and stuff. But so
now all of your listeners just saw that you have a colonoscopy next week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll have to cut that out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it's fun. I mean, I don't mind being. I like the managing kind of thing, but I just, again, how do I make that a career path? So
get an artist that makes a lot of money.
Yeah, right. So I got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Again, as long as I'm having fun, like that's all that matters. I think, like, life's too short to worry about all the other things. Like, as long as I try to have as much fun every day that I can, and that's why I go to as many concerts as I do, and do the podcast all the time, because it's fun for me. So
yeah, absolutely. Good.
Let's drop in Still My Girl. This is track 2.
I love the way you look at the TV, but you never watch the news. I love the way you judge the people who would never try to hurt you. It's okay, dear, 'cause you're still my girl. I love the way you go to church when you don't believe the prayers get answered, and the way you sing their songs like you just wrote them on a napkin. It's okay, dear, 'cause you're still my girl. Oh, oh, the way you do all the things you do, you don't know what you got me into. Oh, oh, 'cause you're still my girl. Love the empty bottle of booze when you claim that you quit drinking, and the way you cover it up with a fresh stain on the landing. It's okay, dear. I'll clean it up for you. I love the way you write your tests with no apparent answers. Just 'cause you smoke doesn't mean you'll get cancer. It's okay, dear, 'cause you're still my girl. The things you do, you don't know what you got me into. Oh, oh, oh. 'Cause you're still my girl.
And what do you think about this one, man?
Talking about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one I they say these days all music should be accompanied by a video. I mean, that's what, when I say they, I'm talking about them.
Right.
The music industry gods say you need to have a video, but for an indie musician who's just trying to make a living, you can't afford to make a fancy music video for all of them. So I took this one upon myself. It took me about 70 hours, and I drew 4,000 stick figure images on the computer. 4,000. I'm not kidding. My computer froze like 50 times. My new computer froze like 50 times. But I made this stick figure music video, and it's gotten mixed reviews for sure. It's very cute because the whole song is, I used to tell you what the song's about. It's sort of about finding a significant other's flaws and imperfections to be what you love most about them. If you've been somebody for a while, and it's sort of playful, painfully relatable lyrics, is what I was going for. And so in the music video, there's a blue stick figure and a pink stick figure, which is me and mine, and we're acting out all the things. I love the way you look at the TV, but you never watch the news. I love the way you go to church when you don't believe that prayers get answered. Whatever, we're acting out all the lyrics, and it's very cute. And then in the last scene, the last chorus, the stick figures have dirty sex. Stick figures.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the spoiler, but it got mixed reviews for that reason, because there are some people that are like, man, it's blah blah blah. Other people think it's the greatest thing ever. So
Yeah.
I hope you'll think it's the latter. But I spent a lot of time on the video. I'm very proud of it, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. You ever I don't know. Again, I'm a little bit older, but there used to be this stickdeath.com, I think it was, or something like that. You ever heard of that?
Dick Death?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Again, it's like this was like flash animation type of website, but like it was all these stick figures, and they were like these little cartoon type of things, and like they would always end up killing each other and different things. And but I don't know, that's where my brain just went with that. Like we used to watch a lot of it like in the early days of internet access and stuff. And
Yeah.
so when Flash was like, you know, the high technology and stuff on websites and stuff.
Well, the app was called Styx, STYXZ or something. Styx. But yeah, so I don't know. It was a very basic app that would only do circles or lines. So I actually had to it's a lyric video, so writing out all the lyrics and timing it with just circles and lines was something else. But I imagine it was high tech at some point back in '99 or whatever.
Right. That well, I'd enjoyed that one as well too, though. I enjoyed a lot of it. I was doing quite the big deep dive at work on all your tunes on Spotify.
Awesome. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Man. You got a couple other records out there too. So you know, if you are enjoying this, be sure to check out everything else that you can get wherever you get your digital media at now and stuff. So
yeah, I think this was round 5. Good gosh.
Right.
5? Oh man. That's a lot.
Yeah. That let's close this out with Feel Like Gold. Another fun song on Wicked Dreams. But what do you want to tell us about Feels Like Gold?
Well, I maybe had the most fun with this one production wise. This is my first time producing my own record as well. And I'm doing stuff for other artists and stuff now, but this is my first time sitting in that chair and really figuring everything out. Like, what's the vision going to be? What's the horn line going to be? What are the vocal harmonies going to be? And this one, for me, of the 3 tracks, I think I had the most fun with, and hearing it at the end was the closest to how I heard it in my head before it was done. And Feel Like Gold is essentially a commentary on today's society. People have different views on life and different ways of thinking, of course, but it's important to get along and feel good around one another. So that's the premise of that one.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste your time, but I want you to take up mine. I don't mean to kill your day, but you live in this place, so do I. Don't wanna be that lonely creature standing in the shade. Sad how you wanna lead this race. Don't need no time, don't need no space, no bad reactions with little faith. Don't need no flowers, we're not going rogue. Just need to feel right, feel like gold. Things are so unkind, and it seems less together this time. And if we stick to hate, then all that's left to do is wait and see. Don't wanna be the Roman Empire, falling into dust. Is there no one left out here to trust? Don't need no time, don't need no space, no bad reaction, little faith. Don't need no flowers, we're not going rogue. Just need to feel right, feel like gold. Don't need no time, don't need no space, no bad reactions, with little faith. Don't need no flowers, we're not going wrong. Just need to feel right, feel like gold.
Yeah, I enjoyed the just even the in the three songs, the variety that comes through, you know, having the horns and everything, you know, adding different layers to some of these songs. And so it was
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun, man. I
Thank you.
do you do you get to like actually invite horns into, do you do this like at a studio or a house, or is that?
Yeah, I did do some home recording for it for sure. You get Nancy Piper? So we got a dog in the background.
Yeah,
But we did a lot of it at most of it at Third and James Studios in Denver. And basically, what I did is I demoed everything at home, figured out exactly the right tempo, where the time signature changes were, you know, whatever, and then I did MIDI horns. At first, we got real
Yeah.
horns, but I wrote out all the parts in an application for each of the horn players, and I also did MIDI mock-ups of the songs, gave them to the horn players ahead of time. So that's how it started. So I knew I'd like how it sounded first,
Right.
and then we brought in real local horn players, and they done good.
Yeah, man, nice. I think that's funny too. Like I've had friends talk about making records, you know, and then they were like, they programmed all the drums on the record, and they were, and then they to play it out live, they had a new drummer, and he's like learning to the record, and he's like, man, how'd you play this part? And he's like, oh, I don't know, we programmed it all, like, so had to try to figure out how to make it all work in as real life, you know, compared to being on a computer program and stuff. So
It's interesting seeing, and you see some bands that are phenomenal musicians that went to school for it and whatever, that are bringing in tracks. I mean, they're playing with tracks live and they're bringing in cool elements. And I think there's a graceful way to do it that some bands do a really good job of. I haven't figured that out yet.
yeah, I don't know, like obviously it works in hip hop, you know, where a lot of times you just have the MC up there over and a DJ spinning tracks and that kind of thing. But for me, it's always just been people doing it live, a real, you know, the live band playing all the instruments and stuff. And but even like you know, whatever, like Maroon 5 or whatever, like these giant pop bands and stuff, like they still play with a lot of tracks and stuff because there's four guys in the band, but they don't have all these different whatever keyboard parts and all these different things in there and stuff. So
Right.
um,
It's crazy. And you know, it does take something to be able to play along with it too, you know, without getting off live. Gosh,
yeah,
I don't, you know, we wouldn't do that
yeah,
because I think there's like an improvisational thing, at least with my band too, where I don't think we would necessarily play the same song exactly the same
hmm
twice, but different
yeah,
kinds of music.
sure, yeah, yeah, man. I like what you're doing. Like you're saying, you kind of tap into a lot of different things. You know, you and again, I like that about a lot of artists where you know it's like so many people feel like you need to be boxed into a certain genre, you know, what you do, and but I like that, you know, sometimes it can be singer songwriter, sometimes it can be country, sometimes it can have some blues to feel to it, or some rock and roll or whatever. Just a little everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I just want to write good songs. You know, a lot of people say you got to narrow it down, but you know, I'm narrowing it down on my own, on my own terms.
Right.
Music that I like.
Yeah. You ever get into like pitching songs to anybody? You ever try any of that kind of stuff as far as like
I would,
as a singer songwriter?
I would like to get more into that. That's something where I feel like I'm behind the curve. You know, I would love to be involved with a licensing company. Um, you know, I've written lots of jingles and stuff too because I know how to write for all the instruments in an orchestra and things like that. So I've written lots of jingle stuff. Um, and I just haven't ever gotten super active in publishing and licensing, but I think it would be a great route. And it's a nice way to make some money, some
Yeah.
passive income if you can get in.
I'm fascinated with that show Songland on NBC, like the whole process of the, you know, the songwriter coming in and pitching to these superstars and making the song kind of come to life and making it work for them and stuff and what they do.
I haven't watched it yet because I'm scared. You know, oh, excuse me. I'm scared because do you ever watch a movie where or a TV show where a character does something so stupid that you like almost can't watch? You're like, don't, you know, don't cheat on her. She's coming home or
Right.
whatever. You know, like it's almost hard to. You're embarrassed for them, even though it's an actor. I would have trouble watching that show because as a songwriter, I would have trouble not picturing myself in the songwriter's shoes, but in the worst possible way.
Yeah.
You know, I just don't know. I don't think I could handle watching it. I'd love to be on the show,
Yeah, man.
but
I,
I would. Watching it scares the crap out of me.
I don't. I mean, I don't. I can't obviously connect to it like you can, being then since I never wrote any songs. But it's a very entertaining show, and the three of them, the main like cast, are very good together. Ryan Tedder, Shane McNally, and Esther Dean, and you know, between the three of them, they have a crazy amount of like number ones and all these big hits and stuff. So uh, I don't know. It's just for me, it's interesting to watch how their mind works, how they can just like flip one line, one song, you know, one lyric, and it totally like, oh man, there it is. So I could, you know, make
It's a hit
everything.
now.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, they fix that or they, you know, do change one little piece in the chorus, and now that becomes like that's the now we got the hook, you know, right, and whatever it is, and it's really really you know, fascinating for me to watch as a fan of music and stuff, watching them work like that. So
Yeah, maybe I'll have to give it a chance.
yeah, yeah, man. Well, I got a couple questions for you. I've been having fun asking people, um, and some of these get kind of silly. But I was gonna. So one that came up the other day that I thought was pretty interesting, and hopefully you watched as much as I did. But what would be your all time SNL cast if you could choose 8 people and 2 for Weekend Update?
Oh shit! You know what? I have to see. I'm gonna pull up a list really quick because we've seen so many people come and go. Off the top of my head, I'm putting Will Ferrell on there. I'm putting Andy Samberg in there for sure. And who were the 2 that did the Weekend Update for the longest time? 2 gals, Amy Poehler and
Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. Thank you.
Yeah.
I would love them on the show. Um, he's been a staple for so many years. He's been on the show. Actually, I'm not even sure if he's on anymore, but he was on forever and ever. Kenan Thompson.
Yeah, Keenan's
I
still
might.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's his career.
Yeah.
It's like a brief thing for a lot of people, but that is
Well, it was before him. It was Fred Armisen. He was on there for forever too, and so and then he finally started getting out into Portlandia and all that other things that taking some other adventures.
well, he's yeah, I love him. And then there's somebody else I'm thinking of who was on in the last 10 years. Oh, Bill Murray. Put Bill Murray on there. Damn it.
Yeah.
See, you might ask me this, and I have 8 different tomorrow.
Oh, sure.
Bill Hader. Bill Hader.
So good. Yeah.
Love Bill Hader. And then oh shoot, this is so tough. Now I am looking at a list for this last one.
Yeah.
You know who I like, and she might not be on a lot of people's lists as a classic SNL person, but was involved. I thought did so many. Even trying to think of an example, she always just played a wacky character, and that's Maya Rudolph.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's gonna be my 8-person cast.
Yeah.
And the Weekend Update. The Weekend Update, because this would be outrageous. I want to keep Tina Fey on there, but I want her to do it with Andy Samberg.
Pretty good. Andy's a funny guy.
He's a funny mofo.
Yeah. The Hot Rod I just watched recently on Netflix again, and that movie makes me laugh so hard. There's so much good stuff in there.
There's so much great comedy out there,
Yeah.
I feel like, right now.
Yeah.
I also think Justin Timberlake, even though he's never been a cast member, he feels like a part of the show because he's been on so many funny skits with Andy. And,
Yeah. And Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If you could create a new curse word, what would it be?
Yeah, it's already a word, but I'd like to make it a bad word, and that's gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what is gerrymandering? Why is everybody like all these really professional? Allie and I were cracking up. My girlfriend were cracking up one night because they were talking about it, on some debate. Like, oh, the gerrymandering. I said, what the hell is gerrymandering? Like, why are we using this word? So I looked it up, and I said, no, I'm not into that. And we decided that gerrymandering should be, can this be, it's not that bad, but I can say whatever I want, right?
Sure.
Gerrymandering is when a guy walks around in his undies, but his junk is, that little pocket in your undies if you're a dude, but your junk is poking out of the pocket. We decided that that's gerrymandering.
I saw something now it's like burned into my brain, but I saw something in regards to the face masks, and then like if you wear it with your nose uncovered hanging out, and that you might as well be like this, and it was like a picture of somebody with their wiener hanging out of their underwear, and so now I just imagine everybody has their nose is a penis, and it makes me laugh when I walk around and I see people with their nose sticking out like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if everybody's nose was a
Right.
penis, I mean, the world,
Yeah.
I think there'd be less crime,
Yeah.
because we'd never get used to it. Everything would just be so funny all the time.
Oh man. What's Do you do any celebrity impressions?
Oh God, on the spot. I don't. I don't know. I don't know. I'm a. I give things a go. I give things a whirl, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who I could do poorly. I don't know. I don't know. Let me think about that.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
what's a song you wish you wrote?
I have a game with my bandmates played called Would You Kill the Artist? And the way the game works is the song so good that you would be willing to murder the artist in cold blood to be able to say that you wrote it. It's kind of a messed up game, but when you spend 100 hours in the car together, that
Right.
kind of thing happens. And there's a lot of them. I think if I could kill one artist and take their catalog, it'd be Randy Newman. But Dixie Flyer by Randy Newman or Louisiana 1927, love those songs. I'd like to take a lot of songs from Dawes, all your favorite bands, $1 Million Bill. I definitely kill Taylor Goldsmith a few times over for some of his songs. Yeah, I could go on
Right.
and on about that. I can't pick. If I had to pick one, my answer would be different tomorrow, but today it would be "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie.
All right. I don't
Sorry,
know
that
that.
was a long answer.
I don't know that one. I'll have to go check it out.
Oh man,
I
it's
know a
gonna
little
mess
bit
you up.
about them, but not as much. When you said Randy Newman, the my brain immediately went to the Family Guy sketch with Randy Newman and playing along and stuff.
Dee. Yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, what's a dream duet or collaboration you'd like to see for yourself or your band?
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of Anders Osborne forever, and I've seen him get big in the last 5 years. I would love to do an album with him, like with him producing and co-writing and playing on it. I think that would be the most amazing thing ever.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That'd be sweet.
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Let's make that happen. I'll make some calls.
Yeah, dude, you're a manager now.
Right.
You gotta be our Midwest rep.
There you go. I can handle that. You all right, if you were a superhero, what would be your name and your superpower?
I would be the Peach Stand Rambler. And I just came up with that because I'm drinking an Odell beer right now, the Peach Stand Rambler. And my superpower, this one's gonna be harder to come up with. The Peach Stand Rambler. My superpower would be that I could stop any crime before it's about to happen, because I would automatically appear near the criminal the person who's about to cause the crime with a peach stand, and I could convince them to come over to the peach stand and buy a peach and just walk away. Non-violent superhero.
There you go. Diffuse
Boom.
the situation. Yep.
Yep.
I like it. That is actually that's a good superhero name.
Peach Stand Rambler. Dude, we should design the cape for that.
Yeah, man. This may be along the lines of the dream duet and stuff, but it's another fun question I like asking people. But you, all right, you get to front the band for one song. What's the band and what's the song? They pull you up out of the crowd and they want you to jam with them for the night.
If I get to front the band, what's the band and what's the song? Damn it. I would front, again, this answer will change tomorrow, but I would front Tyler Childers, so I would be Tyler Childers, and
Yeah.
the song would be Universal Sound.
He's a guy, like, I didn't really get it at first. I'll be honest. Like, for me, I just had a hard time getting over his voice. It was became a kind of an acquired taste for me. Like, but once I started getting into his writing, like, I overlooked it all. Like, I mean, like, his writing is incredible. And
Yeah.
he, and then I got to see him live, and he did. So he, like, again, his career, like, took off like a rocket. Like, I think he was supposed to play like a 300 cap venue, and I think he did like a year before, 2 years, I guess 2 years now or something like that, and then he sold it out. And then the next year he's supposed to come back there, but it sold out like instantly, and they bumped him up to like a 700 cap, and then they sold that out like instantly. And then the next time he came back around, he did 2 nights, one at Peabody, which was like 2,500 or something, and then he did the second night of the pageant was like 2,300. And so, and then of course this summer he was supposed to hit the road with Sturgill and doing in arenas and stuff. And I was supposed to go to that, but that all was canceled now. So
He's big.
oh yeah.
He's big now. I mean, he could probably do Red Rocks next summer by
Yeah.
himself. And he might get bigger than Sturgill even. Just like seeing that trajectory he's on, it's just, my
Sure.
gosh.
Yeah. But man, I really dove into Follow You to Virgie. That was one that, like, I really connected to, especially at the time last year with my mom being sick and everything. Like, there was so much of that song and those lyrics, like, really hit home what I was going through. And but like, he so I can't help but cry when I hear the song. And then seeing him do it live was really special and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. It's so funny how you go through things in your life and you think you'd want music to disguise it, and sometimes you do, but if you're going through a sad period of time, you're not always looking for a happy song. You sometimes just want something to relate to.
Yeah, man. And I don't know, like, not that I ever felt like I was alone. Like, I mean, there was times I did feel that way, but I know it was something, or so many people have been affected by different cancers and everything else. But
Yeah.
it's something very, comforting in a sense. I was like listening to a podcast and they were talking about it, and Ryan Sick, it was the Honeydew with Ryan Sickler, and he was talking to a comedian, Taylor Tomlinson, and I think Ryan lost his mom and she lost her dad. I think that's the right, something like that. But they were sharing stories of losing their parents to cancer at a young age and stuff. And so for me, it was like very, again, comforting listening to their stories, realizing, like, I'm not the only one that's been through this. And that's the same kind of feeling I hear in a good song sometimes, where it's like they're telling my story and stuff. And so I love that when I can connect to it on that level and stuff, and relate to that song that even more.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And I'm sorry to hear about your mother, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was that was tough, man. I don't even know. Like, it was a very, very difficult thing. And of course it just, like, yeah, it was just all so fast, it's like, but yeah, she was diagnosed stage 4 brain cancer in June and gone December 3rd last year. So
Oh, man.
it was tough.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I've been trying to do my part since then. We did a benefit for her in September and called it Deb Stock, and raised a bunch of money and stuff. And I'm gonna, my goal was to do it again this year, but everything's kind of still on hold. So I don't know if that's going to be quite possible, but I do want to continue in her honor and name to continue to raise funding and awareness for brain cancer and stuff, and help others in need and things. So
Yeah.
and try to
Good.
keep that going, start a charity and develop this foundation and stuff. So
Yeah.
because
Awesome.
that was another thing. Like even after that, like it seemed like so many people, like, I mean, like, I don't know if it was, again, it was always there, but it's like when it happens to you, you start seeing it all the time. Then, it's like, and, but it's like so many people around me were affected by brain cancer also and everything else. Like, so it was just like, this is crazy. It's like something's, I don't know. Not that I feel like I'm not going to find a cure for it or anything, but at least if I can help somebody else and out, because there was a lot of people there to help me when I needed it. So
No, that's an awesome thing you're doing.
yeah, man. So hopefully we can do that this year and shine a little light and do some good.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
but yeah, man. Well, Andy, this has been a ton of fun, man.
Thank you
Really,
so much for having me on. I'm so glad we could finally hang out.
definitely. Well, hopefully next time we can make it face to face. We can actually get to hang out in person. And I obviously things are still on hold with all the pandemic and stuff, but I'm guessing as soon as you can, you're going to try to hit the road with the band again and
Yeah.
share these songs.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, we might have we'll have one, perhaps two more EPs out by that time. I mean, it's been a lot of time to record and write, so we're trying to push stuff out. But yeah, absolutely. There'll be some band tours, but I'm also just with what's going on, looking to travel solo a lot for this year and maybe into next year, thinking in terms of house concerts and
Yeah.
and things like that. So hopefully this year, hopefully in the late summer and fall, I'll be able to do some house concert type things.
Yeah, man. I'm kind of late to that. Like I kind of got in recently. I noticed somebody. I think it's through bands in town. I saw somebody. One of my favorites was coming to town, Kevin Gordon, and I reached out. I saw like the name of the place, and I was like, "Well, I don't know what that is." I thought it was some venue I never heard of. Turns out it was somebody's house, and I was like, "Well, is this open to public?" And they're like, "Yeah, just bring a dish. Usually it's or whatever, $10-20, whatever it was to help the artist. It all goes and right to them." And so I was like, "Cool, I can dig that. That sounds like a ton of fun." And I had a blast, man. It was such a cool experience getting to especially see one of your favorites in somebody's living room like that and just kind of hanging out. And so I think
That's awesome.
I think that would be super cool for you to get to do more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that'll happen. If you know anybody hosting in St. Louis, let me
Yeah,
know.
I do know a couple spots, so I'll see if I can't pass your name along.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. But hopefully we'll see you in St. Louis soon. And then again, if you get involved with Andy Sydow on your Facebook, Instagram, you said everything's you have SoundCloud account too and stuff if you're on there. And
Yep.
so find Andy and get plugged in.
I'd love to meet you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, buddy. This has been super cool, man. I really had a lot of fun tonight.
Me too. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.